everyone. My name is Arielle Hurst, and this is Iron Out the Details, a show where we talk about the latest in marketing, business, technology, all this crazy stuff that's happening, and help you figure out what is just fluff versus how does your business actually need to be evolving. Welcome to Iron Out the Details. So today I'm here with two of our directors, MJ and Jess, and we're going to be talking about AI. I know it's the conversation that is consuming literally everything today, but I want to dig into a very specific part of this in terms of something I've been noticing across the marketing landscape when I work with clients on both the prospect side and sort of in our day-to-day work at Iron Paper. And it's that every company is so eager to slap AI onto their messaging. So in some cases, they're literally changing their URLs to like xyzorganization.ai instead of .com, now powered by AI. It sort of has consumed the messaging of the organizations I'm looking at. And I feel like the thing that I'm observing is that it's actually starting to make all companies sound the same. And so here's my question for you guys. Are you also noticing this as a trend? And how do you see it affecting differentiation in the groups that you're working with?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm on the client facing side, so I talk to clients every day, all day. And we're getting more and more of those conversations of, well, I made this in AI. Can you make it better? Or, don't worry about that. I'm gonna do that. I can do it in AI. And then we get the copy, or sometimes they don't even tell us, right? And we can tell because of the M dashes. Everybody can kind of pick that out now. I try to have these conversations with them, like your exact competitor could do exactly what you just did and put the exact same blog up. How are you going to differentiate yourself from the people who are using the exact same tool and platform that you're using to beef up your marketing? It's fast, which is great, but it's making good marketing free. But how do we go from good to great?
There's this assumption that you have to mention AI either because it's like a checkbox, right? Like back in 2000 and 2008, and it was like in the sort of the internet bubble, we saw, oh well, I have to have a website because my competition does, or because it's expected, but genuinely just sort of like this checkbox. I think there's a fear of maybe looking like they're falling behind, or actually falling behind. So there's so much of this is, I would say, like fear charged on both ends. And most buyers, not most, there are some buyers who will see AI just mentioned sort of carte blanche on a website and immediately not trust it because they associate, depending on the industry they're in, they associate AI with risk and with security issues and with a too rapid acceleration, right? And so it almost is like it's doing a disservice to some of the prospects I talk to. Others, on the other hand, yeah, it's almost like the adoption is so rapid that it does feel just like, okay, cool, me and everyone else, sort of like a Me Too product. There's a sort of assumption that because it's like the new hotness, that it is just this, that mentioning it means that like you're up to the times. Being up to the times is not the problem or the point. Buyers don't actually care about that usually. What they care about instead is, do you understand my problem? When I encounter or engage with you, do I see a mirror of myself, of the conversations I'm having internally? The goal is to build trust. The mention of AI itself does not inherently build trust. And that, I think, is kind of like the hot take of all of this, is that like it doesn't, and people want it to. And so we got to put a little more legwork into like, okay, what about this technology that you're leveraging enables you to better solve and answer and build trust with your would-be buyers?
Yeah, that's such a good point. And I feel like this is a little bit of an everything old is new again type of situation, because we did a survey a few years ago with 200 B2B leaders. And what we found is that 92% of B2B leaders don't think their messaging is very effective, which I thought was fascinating. I mean, they really don't know what's like pushing someone to close, what's getting someone to convert. And I think this is like another attempt at trying to be like, oh, well, maybe it's this. But back in those days, just a couple of years ago, the thing that everyone was saying is, oh, we're an all-in-one platform. Every platform was all-in-one. And it was always this question of, well, what is the benefit someone receives from having something be all-in-one? Because frankly, to your point, MJ, that could mean, well, then you're not a best of breed. Right? You actually don't do anything very well. You're like the Cheesecake Factory of software products, and nobody's interested in that.
Or you're
And
locked in, and then it crumbles, and all of a sudden your whole ecosystem is at risk, right? Like,
100%. There's so much there. And so, kind of going back to your point around like recommendations, the thing I always talk about with prospects and clients is you can never have your benefits be implied. You can't just make some statement and then ask the buyer to be like, all right, now figure out how this might be relevant to you. You need to express how it's relevant to them explicitly. And that's, why is AI good? Oftentimes I use a recipe that is, you need to be mentioning the challenge the buyer is having, but then also what's the negative business impact that they're experiencing. And putting those two ingredients together, I think help you overcome that slap AI on everything or slap all in one platform on everything. And oh, great, this is our messaging now.
A 2025 study, so just last year, over 3,000 AI queries in this study, and 45% of them had significant issues in the output.
Yeah.
20% containing major accuracy problems such as hallucinations, which I had never heard this term in relation to AI until I read the stat, which actually is they're describing hallucinations as confident errors.
Mhm.
So ChatGPT is very confident when they give this to you, but it is still factually incorrect, and that's a huge consideration.
Whether it's from the sales side or the client, or the client side from Iron Paper, trust is paramount in this B2B landscape, more so perhaps than ever before, right? Because it's shifting so fast, people feel overwhelmed. They don't know what to do. Lead
Mhm.
generation is a huge question mark, but they don't understand why, to your point, Arielle. And it's like when you have trust, noise in the landscape isn't a problem. Confusion in the landscape isn't a problem. Overwhelm isn't a problem because the brand, the business becomes a trusted resource.
Deep fakes, bad animations, video where the audio isn't matching up with the way the person's lips are moving. And I mean, just for me personally, as soon as I see that, that's an ick. Like, that's an ick for me, for that company. And now I just keep scrolling. It doesn't interest me at all. It's fake looking. And so I think there's like a level where you're not only people are questioning you, they're like making a split decision in that moment that you're not the brand for them.
That's such a good point. And I also think you're pointing out that this is a compounding problem. So let's say you decide, we're going to have XYZ product now powered with AI. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to start investing in creating content, sales content, marketing content that reinforces that message because you are attempting to build trust. But I do think these days, without a more measured approach, they are then creating that content with AI. And it kind of does create like the AI slop snowball. Um, that really starts to dilute the message and the brand credibility that folks are trying to build. So I don't think the point here is that never say that your product has AI. Instead, it's to be really thoughtful and explicit about what the benefit of the AI is, both in what you're saying to buyers, but then also how you're actually operating your marketing infrastructure.
Yes. And also, AI slop snowball is a wonderful phrase. So
Yeah, it feels very real, doesn't it?
yeah.
Okay, so just want to recap really quickly. So I feel like today what we've talked about is the tension between brands wanting to seem innovative, but also be differentiated, and I think importantly, be trusted as well. So I just want to do one more lightning round of what is your recommendation for the organizations that are trying to balance all of these different things?
One recommendation. So from my lens, when I'm thinking more about clients specifically wanting to use AI in their marketing efforts, I guess my one recommendation would be to just kind of really think through how you want to position yourself in the market. And if you want to position yourself the same as everyone else and all of your other competitors, AI is the way to go for you. 100% all in, create a marketing program. If you want to be different and you want to be better and you want to be great, then you still have to find that humanization. You still have to layer in the value, the differentiation, and a lot of those things you're not going to get from an AI platform.
The question I get most often is like, yeah, I'm aligned with what you're saying, but like, how do I do that? It's like a really big question. And it sounds simple, but it's like, start to dive into that. What are people searching for? How are they searching? And what are they saying? And that can give you a lot of insight.
Yeah, 100%. And I know there is so much more to touch on here. I think we'll probably have some additional conversations about AI in the future. But in the meantime, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
This was a great conversation.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
fun.
Bye, all.
See ya.
Bye.